I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:33. Mr. Gonzalez, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please? Okay, we get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. President Joey Acuña Jr.,
Here.
Vice President Jocelyn Vargas, Clerk Silvia Paz,
Here.
Trinidad Arredondo,
Present.
Valerie Garcia,
Present.
Jesus Gonzalez. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Item 2, closed session. Public comments, closed session. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board regarding any closed session item within the board's subject matter jurisdiction. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes for each subject matter. I believe I only have one for closed session. Carissa Carrera, CVTA, item 2.6.
Try it again. There it goes. Okay. Good evening, Carissa Carrera, President of CVTA. Tonight, I wanted to discuss the new rules created for CVTA leadership as well as classroom vacancies. The short version of the new CVTA leadership rules is that we are not allowed to go anywhere or talk to anyone without Dr. Esparza knowing about it. Just know we don't have an issue with that because we have nothing to hide. However, when these new rules negatively impact our ability to do our work, meaning what our rights are under California Ed Code, we do take issue because it becomes an unfair labor practice. There have been known vacancies in the district since the end of the last school year. In following Dr. Esparza's directives, HR has not shared any of the data that is normally shared with the CVTA over the summer, data which allows us to work together to ensure students have teachers on the first day. We know that did not happen today, unfortunately, as many of our students returned to school. No one will tell us enrollment numbers, vacancy numbers, and until yesterday, we weren't even allowed to know who they had called back from the RIF list. There are many classes with substitutes today, yet 24 of our RIF teachers sat at home waiting for a phone call. Do you not want students to be with a permanent teacher from the very beginning? Let me give you an example of Oasis Elementary. They don't have a single credentialed 6th grade teacher, not one. No one has been called back to fill any of those vacancies there. Instead, somebody decided that they should just have subs today. Why is that? For some reason, none of our RIFT teachers were called back until August 14th, and then only for CVU vacancies. It took an entire week for HR to get permission in order to share the list with us, and by that time, there had already been mistakes made. In case you don't know, not calling RIFT teachers back correctly is a violation of Ed Code and is an unfair labor practice. I've been in this district since 2004, and each year teachers are tasked with sending a head count to the office for the first 10 school days. I'm fairly certain that is a simple task for teachers to handle. Today, however, DO admin and staff were sent to sites to physically go into the classrooms and do a head count. Are teachers no longer capable of doing this task? Are the admin and the attendance clerk not capable of performing this task? The need for control seems to be more than one person is going to be able to handle this year. We will see. I will end this with a definition of gaslighting. Gaslighting means to manipulate another person into doubting his or her perceptions, experiences, or understanding of events. So in case you are being told that the CVTA president only speaks for herself up here, or that she makes things up and what is stated here is not true, you're being gaslighted. Not a good trait in a leader. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I believe we're coming back at 7:30. or 7?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.? Okay. Thank you. Righty, board, public comments, open session, board notification, requests to address the board. Introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it in to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. And we have Mary Mayer from Mountain Vista. She has 2 items, Proposition 28 and maintenance. So you have 6 minutes.
Is this, okay, I just want to make sure it was on. So my first item, Proposition 28, and I'm addressing you as a VEPA teacher at Mountain Vista. I'm here to share my concerns about the current plan for the Proposition 28 funding. On June 5th, a letter was sent out from you, the board, describing how the funding was to be spent. It states that, per the guidelines of Proposition 28, 80% of these funds must be used to employ certificated or classified employees who provide arts education program instruction. I had questions at that time and reached out to Mr. Acuna and to Dr. Esparza. Mr. Acuna responded promptly, directing me to contact Dr. Esparza or Mayela Sacedo. A few days later, I heard from Karen Pentney in an email that was CC'd to Dr. Esparza. Addressing one of my concerns, Ms. Pentney explained that the salaries mentioned in the letter referred to the current VAPA teachers. I was surprised by this response because when the funding had been discussed previously, it was mentioned that the money was to be used for new programs. I searched the California Department of Ed website for the guidelines for Proposition 28 and confirmed that the funding is not to be used to cover existing programs. And I quote, "All funds must be used to supplement funding for arts education programs. For the purpose of this program, supplement means that local educational agencies increase funding of arts education programs and not to supplant existing fundings for those programs," end quote. It is my understanding that CVUSD plan for Proposition 28 funds does not follow this state guideline. I emailed Karen Pentney and CC Dr. Esparza on August 13th, asking for her to address this conflict. I have yet to hear back. I was invited by my principal to participate in a meeting for materials to be purchased for Prop 28. I am glad that the money is not being spent in a one-size-fits-all style that usually fits no one. I do think sites and teachers should have input into the spending, but I think it is essential that a plan include staffing and which students will be served, and that needs to be in place before materials are purchased. During the July 18th board meeting, President Acuna, you mentioned that you were going to hold Dr. Esparza accountable for implementing items the board has approved. I urge you to do so. For my second item on maintenance, and for this, I'm addressing you just as a Mountain Vista employee, not specifically VAPA. During the July 18th board meeting, President Acuna mentioned that many sites have maintenance and facility needs, and that you have requested assessments of all school sites, and those assessments have not been provided. I can't speak to what happens at other schools, but I do know that a walkthrough was done at Mountain Vista to assess at least some of these needs. I don't know how comprehensive it was, but I hope you will follow through. That report must exist somewhere. Like other schools, we have repair and maintenance needs, but there are also safety concerns. I have mentioned a specific safety issue with the newly installed cement at Mountain Vista. There has been such a revolving door of people in that department, I'm not sure who all I have spoken to, but the trip hazard remains. I fear it is not if, but when someone will be seriously injured. I hope that someone can find and begin to prioritize these issues. Thank you.
Okay, next. Veronica Dueñas, CSCA, Classified Union. You have welcome back and PO for classified. So you have 6 minutes.
Correct. Thank you. Good evening, President Joey Acuna, School Board Trustees, Dr. Esparza, and extended cabinet. CSCA, today we came back. We would like to say welcome back to all our families that came together today for the first day of school. Welcome back, paraeducators. Welcome back, lifeguards, nurses, which are our new LVNs, office family, safety supervisors, security. Welcome back, maintenance and operations, gardening, which they're here either way 12 months, technology also. Welcome back to our nutritional services, all of them. Transportation, thank you so much out there. And our business family that keeps this district going. All of them do. We appreciate all of you also. Why? Because we are in hopes that all school board members can take some time and shadow our amazing classified staff in any of the positions that they do, so you can help understand and see what they do every day. And I do want to make a shout out to a particular board member, which was Mr. Trinidad Redondo. I have seen him on multiple occasions and where he has gone to look at the sites and is understanding the needs. So I really ask you also to, if you can also do that. And thank you for the donuts at transportation. So today, I hope that's not part of my 6, right? Is that part of my 6? Okay. So today I just want to do a shout out to my school, Meerkats, which is Valle del Sol. We had an awesome visitor today. It was Mr. Meerkat. He did an awesome job with our students. He walked around in his awesome Meerkat body, and the students were so happy that a parent came up to me and asked me, will Mr. Meerkat be here tomorrow? And Mr. Meerkat will be at Valle del Sol tomorrow. On my other subject, PD, thank you. CSCA would like to thank everybody, and I mean everybody, that was involved with the professional development training that was offered the 2 weeks before school started. It was a great outcome with great participation from our paraeducator family. I myself was shocked to know how many of our paraeds actually showed up 2 weeks during their downtime to come and participate in professional development. Thank you, Dr. Esparza. Why? Because we have been talking to you, or you listened to our concerns for the past year. We have asked for this, but not just from Dr. Esparza. We have asked for it from many administration, and I know I've brought it here to the board. So thank you for implementing goal number 4, professional development. This is the first of, I hope, many more PDs that will be offered to all classified families. With all that being said, please, let's look at other trainings that can be offered to help all our amazing classified staff to excel in supporting our excellent students, faculty, and administration. There are certain board policies that you guys are working on, like the heat prevention policy, and others that you want us to follow. We are supposed to have a climatization plan. I don't know if you actually know that. In place, according to your Keenan training that is required for all staff to take. But I don't see that plan, and this goes towards training. Why? Because following that training, it teaches us in the district, right, what we're supposed to do and how all our staff, all classified, certificated, and admin, we're all out there in the heat. But if we don't have this plan that Keenan is literally telling us to have, then how are we supposed to follow it if we don't have it? So if we do have it, again, we want the training. We need the training. All of us need training. So let's keep the training going. I really appreciate this PD, and I hope we have so much more PD in the future. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Next up, Carissa Carrera, CVTA, 9.2, 9.5, 12.4, and 13.1.
She was passing on her comments tonight. She's not going to be speaking tonight.
You're not going to be speaking? No, I keep copying. I can't get up there and copy. Okay, no, they were up in front, so I'm calling people who they gave me. Thank you very much. Seeing none, anybody else? That's it, right? Buddy?
No, that's it.
That's it? Okay. All right, seeing none else, written communications, we didn't get anything from any of the agencies. Board member reports, board requests for future board meetings. Let's start with Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Cunha, I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Arredondo.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be back. Some of you never left, so thank you for your continued work. Right. I got a chance to visit many school sites. I was at 14 school sites. Thank you to all the staff that make the time to walk around and check on things that are going on. And there's a lot of good things that are going on at the school sites. So thank you for that. I got a chance to visit the ACES recruitment at 2 school sites that were full. So I know that the ACES program and the ELAB program is getting, the spaces are filling up. So that was good to see. I will say that given our heat training during our Keenan training, I know that sites have been asking for water fountains or cold water to be provided on the field for students. So I hope that that's something that we can look at, Dr. Esparza, as the weather continues to get warm. And I just want to end with thank you to everybody who made it, got our sites prepared. Thank you for the professional development. I got to walk through a lot of the professional development and hear the different sessions going on. But more than anything, all the staff that are working on the ACs, that are working on maintenance, that are working on all those difficult sort of inclement weather, and they're continuing to move forward. Just thank you for that. Thank you to our bus drivers. Thank you to our teachers. Thank you to our support staff, everybody who, helped this district run and will continue. That's my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Again, to echo, it takes a village, and we've got an amazing village that takes care of our students. So thank you all for everything that you do. It was amazing to be back on campus, to feel the energy. The students are really excited. It was beautiful to see that. I have heard concerns about staffing. I've received phone calls. People are very worried about it. It's on our radar. If they can all sit tight, we are assured that there is a plan. We're trying to see where numbers land before we regroup. I'm also concerned my own child is in a combo class, so this is very real to even me, right? So we're trying to just see where this goes. We have time to regroup the numbers, and I'm assured that there's a plan there. So please sit tight. I still want to hear how things are going. But it's on our radar. We do hear you. More to come in the coming days. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Prop 28, please. We need to get that right. If we are not, I agree that it should be. We should be expanding, especially when it comes to the arts. So if we have the opportunity to do that with the Prop 28, I just want to make sure that we are. Thank you.
All right, well, for me, I'll keep it kind of short as well. Welcome back, everybody. Those of you who never left, thanks for hanging in there during the summer. We had the normal things that happen on the first day of school, but I always go back to how many ACs went out today versus last year, and man, it was nothing this year compared to last year. So thank everybody who had a hand in that. I will, as is my custom, I always wait about a week or two before I start visiting sites at the beginning, give them an opportunity to kind of settle in and all the craziness of the first days of school. My son is no longer in school anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. He's off and doing other stuff. So again, thank you everyone for getting us ready. Parents seem to be okay out there. Everybody's always nervous the first day of school. That's just the way it rolls. But again, looking forward to a good year, and I'll be seeing some of you principals and some of you people in a couple of weeks after you kind of get settled. That is my report. Dr. Sparza?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone who is present here and those who are watching via Zoom. I want to say thank you to all of this amazing staff who supported with the welcome back and making sure that our students had everything that they needed for being at the school sites, allowing the parents in to be able to go in and explore, walk their children to their classrooms. It was truly amazing, and this was done throughout the entire district. We're hopeful that our attendance increases in the next 10 days. We're still missing close to 900 students, and so we want to make sure that we right size and so that we have the right staffing. And so that is the reason why, unfortunately, we've had to create some combo classes. As a teacher myself, I know those are difficult classes to have and to maintain, and so we want to support our teachers as best as we can. We hats off to our teachers who have accepted these classes and are working to really support all of our students. Parents, thank you for bringing your prized possession to us today, and we're very, very, very hopeful that we'll continue to have more students attend school. Our doors are open. We're hoping that they're just thinking about Thursday and Friday, maybe not, and maybe being here on Monday, and we really want to make sure they're here every day. We want to push daily attendance so that we make sure that we have everything that we need at every school site, from teachers to custodial staff to our clerical staff, and making sure that the principal is really able to support everything that happens in regards to not just our students coming, what the families need and what our teachers need. And so with that, what our teachers need is professional development to be able to support in the initiatives that we're moving towards, which is direct interactive instruction. We've also brought back thinking maps, and we're really happy that our Ed Services Department was able to pull together a really good professional development. We thank over 500 attendees who attended in the past few weeks to be able to bring these new strategies into their classrooms. And for those who were not able to attend, we will be creating professional development that they will be able to engage in at their school sites throughout this year. I also want to recognize Mr. Baker Alouche, who is with us, the new Director of Maintenance and Operations, who's returned to us, and hats off to Timothy Hernandez, who's done an amazing job in these past few months stepping in while Baker was gone. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the staff who are here, the district office staff, as well as the school staff who participated in our welcome back on the 20th as well. I know everybody saw the welcome back virtually. It was very well attended, and hopefully it inspired you to continue to think and live and breathe that our students are champions. They're our champions. They're the best that their parents send to us, and we have to continue to embrace them as our champions. And so thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Moving on. Item 6, information presentations. Item 6.1, Director Parati, information presentation on college and career data.
Good evening, President Acuna, Executive Cabinet, Board of Trustees, and all of those listening tonight. Tonight, I'm going to present to you our 2023 graduate data. We are using this data as a baseline to set goals and make a plan for college and career readiness. A little bit of background. What happened is about 6 or 7 years ago, the State Department instituted a new dashboard called College and Career Indicators. It's really difficult to track the data on every single student because data lives in a lot of different databases. So you have the College Board where we get our AP results. We have our CASP, which is a different database. We use our SIS system, and then we have CalPads. So trying to get all of our data in one place was very cumbersome. So there was a meeting that we had in the county. The county heard my concerns, and they went ahead and they called me up and said, hey, what if we did a pilot on data? We'd like to pilot a data project with Coachella Valley. So this started 2 years ago, and I'm going to reveal the results tonight. Some goals of the project were to collect, format, and have clear visibility into our student outcomes, and the data collected is used to enhance and expand our programs. We are able to visually look at students who participate in programs now versus non-programs and have it all in one place. The data sources that we used were CalPads, our ARIES Student Information System, College Board, National Clearinghouse, Testing and Assessment, and FAFSA. What do we collect? All student demographics and outcomes as related to college and career indicators. So that includes our CASP scores, college credit, A through G completion, GPA, AP test results, college admissions, and our FAFSA, who submitted a FAFSA. So what I'm showing on this first slide are program students. And I'm gonna take a minute to explain how we laid this out. So if you look at the first line and it says AVID only, in 2023, across our high schools, there were 118 students that finished our AVID program. Collectively, 76% of the students met A through G, 42% passed a college credit course with a C or better, 43% went to a four-year university, and I want to be clear, this is not self-reported data. There's actual enrollment data with the college system. These are actual enrollments. 36% of the AVID students went to a two-year, 53% passed the CASP and ELA with a 3 or better. They met or exceeded the standards, and you can read the results as they go along. The row below that, and this is something that surprised us, when we went to a 7-period day, it allowed students to access more than one program. So below that, we had 27 students who completed a CTE program, and they also completed the AVID program. And you can see that that increased the A through G rate to 93%. And I understand it's a small sample of only 27 students, but now that we have expanded to 7th period, we're seeing more students in AVID and Puente and CTE kind of blend the programs. And you can see that the results increase on every college and career indicator across the row. Below that is Puente. There were 86 Puente only students, and you can see the results. And then below that, there were 15 students that accessed both Puente and a CTE program. And I can tell you, the Puente program, this is just on Desert Mirage students, and I can tell you it was primarily the film program at Desert Mirage program and a few students in the health program. Then below that, we have the 283 CTE only completers, and you can see their data results as well across the board. It's the next slide that was very interesting for us to also look at. The next slide is a snapshot of all 1,399 students that entered their freshman year in 2019. On the previous slide, if you add up all those numbers, that's 529 students that were in programs that graduated in 2023. Collectively, that represented 38% of the cohort, 55% A through G rate for those 529 students, and you can read the results across. But when we look at students that didn't access any programs, which is the row below, that's telling us that programs work because the students in programs had stellar results. So now that we know programs work, oh, I forgot about this slide, I'm sorry. I get asked all the time, well, where were our students going? So we also broke that down so you can see a list of the universities by program where our students attended in fall of 2023. So after graduation, in fall of '23, this is where they actually enrolled, and this is where they went to community college.
Marie, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why is it that the 82 students from Desert Mirage were the only cohort that were part of this statistical measurement? And why wouldn't you use all the students in Puente or all the students in Avid?
So at CV High School, they don't have a graduating cohort yet because they started with freshman, sophomore. This year it's freshman, sophomore, junior.
In the Puente program?
Yes.
Okay, and then what about DM? Was there only 82 students there? Or is it, you said they were in health and one other?
Yeah, 86 plus the 15. So you had about 101 students.
Total?
No, these are the graduates.
Total graduate?
Yes.
Oh, I got you, okay.
Okay, graduates. This is graduate data, so these are only the seniors.
Yeah,
I'm
because
sorry.
you said they were in the health, and the Desert Mirage students were in two, film and health?
Yes, I just backed it up to that slide. So there were 86 Puente-only graduates, meaning they only were part of the Puente program. Then below that, there were an additional 15 students that had Puente and a CTE program.
I got you, I understand that. But you said something about the Puente students only being from health and?
Yes, so the CTE programs, they were a part of the 15 students.
I got you.
Were in film or health.
I got you, okay.
Okay, sorry.
I was misunderstanding, thank you.
That's okay. So this is where they went to community colleges by program and for a total district. So where we're going with all this is we know programs work, and I know that we've had some conversations around making sure that all students belong to something. Avid, Puente, CTE. We could even create sports small school communities if we wanted to. We can get real creative here. But the Golden State Pathways, we were awarded $6.5 million. The state revoked everybody's applications at this time because they received 70 appeals. They are going to reallocate that funding. So the state is focused on health, education, climate-related fields, and technology and STEM. We already have 14 of those programs in our district. We are working closely with College of the Desert, Cal State San Bernardino, and UCR. We are launching dual enrollment programs in education this year. They're starting September 17th. We already launched our health dual enrollment program over the summer with really good results. The COD instructor commented that she really enjoyed teaching our high school students, and I shouldn't say this publicly, but I will. She said she enjoyed them more than some of the college students that she teaches. She was really excited about them. And so we're just growing our programs, and I also would like to announce we have always had a technology program at Desert Mirage. This year we got a new teacher, and it's going AP, computer science, and we're really hopeful that that'll breathe some life into that program. With this Golden State Pathways funding, and I do know that we will get re-awarded, I'm just not sure on the amount. We'll be adding staffing to help oversee these programs and ensure that students are transversing these programs with meeting their college and career indicators and their markers. On our first application that we did submit, we did get 92% of our application requests, so I'm hopeful that when they re-announce the awards, they say by the end of September, that we'll be still close to that $6.5 million, at which time we can start expanding programs. And then we've been following this model. We started with 5 STEAM schools. This year we are up to 11 STEAM schools. We're creating that PK-12 alignment. It's really PK-16 because we're aligning to both community colleges and our Cal State San Bernardino and UCR. And this is a model of the alignment that we're following in our district, where we're offering exposure and awareness in elementary school, career exploration in middle school, and true preparation through our college and career programs at high school. And then finally, I just want to uplift, last year a team went to Nashville. Nashville has been doing the program model for about 17 years. That school district had about a 45% graduation rate at the time. They had a lot of problems with gangs. In their 17 years, they have totally flipped their entire district results with results and graduation. And they said the one statistic that always really just kind of just gives you the chills is that the average age to join a gang in Nashville used to be 16. It is now 22. And it's because students are truly connecting to their programs. And in Nashville, they do these small cohorts, and everybody travels together, much like the Puente program and some of our CTE programs. And that model really does work. There are 15 districts around the nation that have adopted that model. All of them have taken pieces from Nashville and then adopted them and made them work for their district. And every district is different. Every district has different state ed code. Every district has state legislation. And every district is thriving by cohorting all students into programs. And again, getting back to that one slide, 62% of our students are not participating in programs, and you can see the results on that one slide. And I don't know if anyone has any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions or any comments?
We are doing the data this year. The CalPADS report was just certified last Friday, I believe, and we already have our data meetings set up for the year, and we will disaggregate all of 2024 and bring it back with the comparison data for the board to see.
Mr. Cunha, I just want to thank you, Marie, for the work you're doing. I think, you know, we can believe a lot of things, but the metrics are the metrics. Yeah. And it's really cool to see where we're winning and hoping that that's where we put the focus, right? And obviously, this is very telling. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. 6.2, Director Gonzalez, Expanded Learning Program and Expanded Learning Opportunities presentation.
Good evening, President Acuna, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Esparza, and Cabinet. And before I begin, I also would like to just wish everyone an excellent 24-25 school year. I started my morning at Mountain Vista with hugging kids, and it was just great. Great energy, very organized. I saw Dr. Esparza bust a couple moves. Didn't know she had it in her, but it was pretty good. So it looks like we're off to a great start. So I stand here before you presenting some information regarding our after-school programs, before-school programs, everything that encompasses expanded learning and ELOP. So the objectives, what is expanded learning? What is ELOP? Right? How are we funded? What is our programming? What are the opportunities? What are our partnerships? I know those are some of the questions that have been raised, and I'm hoping to be able to address some of those this evening. So I don't want to go through, I'm assuming that most of you have already seen the PowerPoint, so I don't want to go through reading every single piece of it, but on your left, we have what expanded learning, ELOP, the intention, what is it? And here's what it is, right? To provide activities, opportunities during out of school time, so it could be before school, after school, intersessions, weekends, holidays, all that good stuff, safe and emotionally secure space for students. What it's not is unrestricted funding, after-school childcare, and a continuation of the regular day are meant to supplant any existing programs. So this is our funding. Our ACES grants fund 14 elementary schools, 4 middle schools. Our high school, currently, we only have 1 assets grant. Those are very competitive. They're very difficult to secure. So CV High School right now is our only assets grant. And we have our 21st Century that is currently funding 12 elementaries and 1 middle school, which is CDA. And we have the expanded learning program, which is an umbrella for all. So we're able to serve TK-12 with ELOP funding. Our funding sources, these are the amounts. Everything you see in black is funding that comes into the district. What you see in red is an administrative cost. So that is a percentage that goes to compensate the employees in my office, and also go to support the district office to provide the oversight and also the check and balances. And I have highlighted in red for all of you to be able to identify for each one of our grants. The one beneath it is our 21st Century, and it has the funding formula there for you as well, and the indirect cost. We have our assets, which is the one that's funding Coachella Valley High School currently. Same structure. Our expanded learning opportunities as well, the current amount, and also the administrative. We currently do not have the award letter for the 24-25 allocation, so I didn't want to add it until we actually receive that, so that I can ensure that if I present to you, it's a proper amount. And we also have an ESSER grant that will be expiring on September 30th, but I wanted to make sure that I included it because it is current funding for this school year. So here's a list of the criterias of what we need to meet to ensure that we can continue receiving this funding and that we are spending the funding properly. So I gave you a list of all of the things that we need to meet. ACES is the only grant where we have $1 million in kind that we have to secure every year. So that is secured through our partnerships. A lot of our partnerships are organizations that seek grant funding outside of the school district, so it's not funding coming from us. And for example, Friends of the Desert Mountains, Animal Samaritans, they come into our programs and we ask them to tell us how much expenditure it is for them, and that's how we track and are able to secure that match every year. And we are able to use some facility use and some administrative costs, not very much. A lot of it is dependent upon our partners. Here again, our guidelines on spending. This is very important because this is what keeps us in compliance. 85% of our grant dollars must be to a direct service to students. So it has to be, say, someone providing the activities that we provide directly for students, the coordinators that are also on campus providing a direct service. And again, the 15% cap on admin costs. The caveat that we have is that we are not, if we purchase uniforms, our students can't keep them. So anything that we purchase has to be property of the program itself. And again, doing programming on non-school days, and as you all know, we fully funded summer school this year, and the plan is for us to do that again for summer 2025. These are our base attendance requirements. So what this means is if we want to receive the funding that we do, that's the attendance that we have to meet at each one of the sites for all the different funding. And again, this ACE is just broken down by itself because sometimes people like to see that. And again, our grant requirements are they're different for expanded learning ELOP just a little bit, but pretty much overall, ELOP is to support expanded learning programs, to be able to serve more students, to be able to offer more spots, to be able to expand. One of the biggest things too is when we do the grants is that CDE has to approve our plans. So our 21st century, those are grants and those are written, so we have to have a program plan. And our program plans are all aligned to CQI standards, which I will have in another slide here. And for our ACES renewals, I have to submit that report to the state first, and CDE has to approve it, or I cannot apply for a grant. So everything they have to approve, and they have to ensure that all of our activities are aligned to CQI. There is a question about a plan for ELOP, so I just went back in and provided for you the information. The ELOP plan was approved by this board on May 16th, and it was presented, so I put as much of the information as I could fit there, including the vote, just for your convenience. Another question that has come up is, how do we know what we're buying? What are we purchasing? This is an overview of what we purchase. So if we identify activities, for example, we might bring in new programming this year. It's still early on, but if we do, then we will need to purchase materials that will support that. If not, then we have to purchase items that are relevant to the current programming. And as you can know with children, there's a lot of wear and tear. So oftentimes we do have to replace equipment just because of the wear and tear. During parade season, because of all the movement of musical instruments, sometimes we have to replace certain things. So it does get a little costly when you have a program as large as ours. So here is a little bit of the process, just, for your information. So the carts are made at the sites. And what I mean by that is we don't determine who we purchase items from. That is a function of our purchasing department. But our sites can go on and pick a site and just say, this is what I need. I need more sports equipment. I need more band equipment. Once those carts are received, then I go ahead and review everything to make sure that it's compliant and that we're able to purchase the items. So after that, then the office staff will then start submitting requisitions to purchase the items. And all of our purchase requisitions go through approvals. So we have to request it. We have to attach all the backup. Purchasing will tell us who's going to be the vendor that's going to be supplying what we're ordering. So we don't have that liberty of just choosing a vendor on our own. We have to also make sure that everything that we purchase matches our plan. So it has to be aligned to all of our plan and our activities that we currently provide. So let's see here. I did provide for you at the request of one of the trustees. I know it was a really large document, but we uploaded everything that we had purchased in the prior year. So just to give you an idea of the type of items that we do purchase through the program and with the funding. So any purchases that are made for this year, we can't really give an exact amount because we don't know what it's going to be. It just depends on the activity, the wear and tear, or what is needed, or if we bring in new programming, then that will impact what we spend and how we spend it. But again, it always has to follow the purchasing process. And for us, because we do manage state and federal dollars, there's a lot of oversight at the district office level. So here are some of the purchases that we make. Program consumables, right? Our art programs, our music programs, our sports program, cheer. Sometimes we have students that maybe are physically a little different, so we may not have a uniform that fits, and we might have to purchase another uniform. Same with cheer. With robotics, that gets very pricey because there's a lot of batteries, parts. They tend to break a little bit, especially when they're doing competitions. Our culinary program is very popular. So if you look at when we purchase items for recipes, we have to attach the recipe to the actual receipt. So if you look at the type of food that is being made, the students are having a great time, especially with our cooking class. And the same thing goes with our gaming, right? It's a lot of wear and tear because the students are, that's a very popular class, especially in middle and high. So, after so much, something's going to break, or a controller is not going to function properly. So, we want to make sure that we always have the best equipment for our students. And our team, I know that's another question that comes up. So these numbers are based on last year, just for transparency. These are the number of certificated staff members we have, classified, contracted, and we also hire high school students. And the high school students have to be 16. We check their grades. They have to maintain a 2.0 and not be failing a class. If they are failing a class, we put them on almost like a probationary period, and we encourage them to go to tutoring, and they have to raise that grade and bring us an actual report saying that they are no longer failing that class. Then we'll allow them to keep working. But they have to make sure that they don't have any Fs. So another question that has come up, what is our application and selection process? So this one here, I think I should go through, just in case there's any questions. So the process that we were using last year is the school sites were recommending folks, because a lot of times community members will go to the school and say, hey, I'm interested in teaching cheer. Do you have a position for cheer? So the coordinators would meet with them. Sometimes the principal had a recommendation. And if they felt it was a good fit for the school, or the person could provide an activity that was useful for students, then they would say, you know, we have a good candidate, we're going to give them an application. So an application would be given to them. The application has to be completed. We do require a resume. And this, for those of you who've been here as long as I have, this process was first developed by Mary Lou Gonzalez, if you all remember her. So we have to have the application, resume, 3 letters of recommendation, and we also recommend an activity plan, and we give priority to those applicants who have an activity plan, because it shows us that this person has a little more experience if they're able to complete that. Once we do all of that and an interview takes place, then we have to do the reference check. So we will check references. Once we're done with that, then an employment referral is filled out online in SchoolStream, and it's submitted to our Human Resources Department. And this is mainly for contracted employees, because classified and certificated are brought forth to you for board approval. So once we are submitting the referral, then we also move forward with the fingerprinting process. So either it's done in-house, sometimes our HR department is a little overwhelmed, so then we need to send them out, and they can pretty much go anywhere they want, as long as they have our referral form, because it does have a number where the reporting will come back to the school district. So once HR notifies us that they've received the results, and we do DOJ and FBI. And this process is all done with Jasmine Prasad, and I do want to give her a shout out because I know she is kept very busy with the amount of hires that we do. So once she notifies us that the person has cleared all the proper background checks, which is also a grant requirement and a requirement of the school district, then we have to forward to Jasmine identification, whether it be a California ID, a driver license. They have to have a negative TB test, original Social Security card signed, COVID-19 vaccines, we're still requiring that, or an exemption if that's something that they want to do. And all of this documentation has to be submitted directly to our Human Resource Department. Once that process goes through, every single employee has to complete the same Keenan trainings that we are required. The only Keenan training that I had additional was the heat illness, and now the school district has incorporated that one, so we're up to par with all of the trainings. They do the mandated reporting, they do the sexual harassment, they do the heat illness, and if our school district adds another one, then we're gonna require that. So they have to do the trainings, and they have to submit the certificates to us, and then those also get submitted to HR and to the risk department. So we do have a Google Doc that we've had with Jasmine for as long as she's been there. How long has she been there? A long time. So we have a Google Doc that we share with her, and every year, my office and her sit and make sure that everyone's TB tests are current, that everyone's identification is current, no expired driver license, and we also make sure that they've completed their trainings every single year. So once all of that is done, then we start the contract process. Now the contract process is really involved, and I'll go through that. But so one idea that we pitched, because we are required to have parent meetings, and we do have them, they're hosted at the sites, is we pitched an idea to parents if they wanted to start being involved with interviews. And the plan was to have parents involved, coordinators, staff, and even students. Because I thought it would be a great process for students to learn, how to ask questions and just be able to vet folks. And the parents were actually really excited about it. And I did tell them that I would work around their schedule, so if we needed to do evening interviews or we needed to do Saturday interviews, that's what we would do. So the rest of the requirements will not change because those are set forth by our HR department. So again, for CVUSD employees, they still have to go through the application process, And that's just for our record keeping, because as you all know, we're audited, Mayela, like 3-4 times a year, right? And then also we have a federal audit coming up here in the next year. So I have to always maintain all of these records because they will come in and ask to see applications or whatever they ask for. So we are very mindful when we do hire in-house because of the time that the program starts. We have to make sure that, because for example, just like 2 days ago, I had an employee say, hey, I get off at 4:30, can I come and work in your program? Well, that makes it really difficult when our program, like by 5:30 is winding down and students are getting a snack. So it has to work. It has to be able to, they have to be able to serve the students and actually provide a course for them. So we are a little mindful that they can work with the program hours, and this is why we are largely dependent on contracted employees. One, we hire a lot of our own high school graduates that are staying here at College of the Desert or at CVUSD. But again, the process remains the same. So here is the process. Once they've done all of that with HR and we are able to start the contract process, then someone in my office will generate a requisition because it's still a requisition. So the first approval is human resources. So Jasmine makes sure that their fingerprints cleared, and she has to check it off, or else we can't move that contract forward. She makes sure that their trainings are in, that their TB tests, and all of that good stuff that I explained previously. The second approval goes to risk. So risk makes sure that all the Keenan trainings are done. So once risk is done, then the third approval is program compliance. So that's here in our fiscal department here at the district office. So whoever our program compliance person is, and I don't select those are selected by the assistant of finance, so she assigns those jobs. So once we go through program compliance, then the fourth approval is our budget person, which again is assigned by that department. The fifth approval is the department head, so then that would be me. Once they go through all of that, they come back to me so that I know that they've cleared the first few approvals. The sixth approval would be the assistant superintendent of ed services. And then from there, we have to make sure that we submit to purchasing in the warehouse what they call an ICSA. So an ICSA has to have all of that same documentation attached to it so that purchasing knows that we have gone through all the proper steps. Because purchasing, in essence, is the ones that issue the contract, so they have to make sure that we follow the process. So once that is done, then the final signature goes back to the assistant superintendent of business, or our CBO. And once it goes through that process, then it comes back to our office, and then the contractor can actually sign. So that's the process for hiring when we hire non-employees. So some of the programming here that we offer, all of it is aligned to our CTE standards and also our CQI. So if you look here, if we have physical activities, then we have everything that goes with it. Music, performing arts, visual arts, theater. And again, this is required for us. So here's an example of the type of activities and programming that we offer. It's not everything. It would be an even longer presentation if I did that for you. But if it's the pleasure of the board, I could. So we also plan around best practices. And here are some examples of how we incorporate best practices into activities. This is our CQI standards. So on the left are all the standards that must be addressed at the sites. So when I work on the program plan, when I submit it, I have to be able to gauge what all sites are doing and how they're meeting all of these standards. All of the ones on the right are things that we have to do as far as managing the program. They belong to us. So again, the program plan encompasses all of them. not just left or right. You have to meet the whole thing. If you look at the plan that you approve with the ELOP, they follow the exact same standard, CQI. So expanded learning and ELOP have the same guidance, which are the CQI standards. And just so you know, staff members, they have to develop them site by site because programming could look a little different. So we don't have a cookie cutter, like here you go. And the coordinators are continuously trained on CQI. And right now that we're starting the new year, they will do a review with all employees on the CQI. And once we're able to move forward and hire more, then we have to have a follow-up meeting and training for them so that they're also familiar of why we do what we do and in the manner that we do it. So here's some highlights that we're excited to share for this year. One, our starting salary this year will be $22 per hour, and we had to remain competitive because we have the $20 an hour for food service workers. So we want to make sure that we're recruiting, quality staff. Another thing that we want to do, we usually have wait lists, not at all sites, but there are a few that are kind of hot spots for us. So we want to make sure that we try to eliminate the waiting list within the first few months. And by doing that, then most of the time we can increase our programming and we can offer other things, because a lot of times the staff that does come in, sometimes we have staff that come in and say, hey, I know how to do XYZ, and it's like, oh wow, we don't have that. Let's try it out. And for the most part, we're always very, very successful. We're always seeking out new partnerships with local businesses, organizations. Sometimes they reach out to me, sometimes I reach out to them, or through other partners, someone will say, hey, maybe you should talk to this person. And that's how we work. As you know, earlier, there was an MOU on your agenda. So we were looking at that opportunity to collaborate with College of the Desert. We already hire a lot of students that are graduating from our high schools that are staying here at College of the Desert or going to Cal State, San Bernardino. So why not have them work in our programs and also be able to obtain credit? So, I guess, we'll have to talk about that later. I did meet with Cal State San Bernardino on Monday. And I said, hey, I'm looking at doing this with College of the Desert. Do you offer anything like that? And they said, well, we don't. And I said, well, could you, since we're already hiring a lot of your students? And they are willing, they're going to take it back, and they're going to take a look and see how they can also partner with us. So I think this is a great opportunity for our students because they're already working with us. And they're already going to school, so it's a win-win, the way that I see it. We also want to increase the tangible experiences for our students that are relevant to our programming and also support our CQI. And we currently also serve SPED students in our program, and we have a great relationship with Director Rob Nichols and his team, in that we're able to really, I think last year we probably had the most students that we've ever served, and it has a lot to do with his leadership. So we're really excited to be able to continue that. We also have a shared drive with them so that we know what students need curb to curb, what students need a one-on-one, or any other needs that a student may have. We make sure that all the support systems are in place. So we are looking to increase special events. And one thing that we do want to take a look at for the elementary and middle is our esports. It's become a really big and popular program, and there's a lot of possibility there. And so we do want to see, what are the best practices? I know Palm Springs Unified just built a big building, so we do plan on reaching out to them and saying, can we come take a look? And then we will be making that investment, but I want to go see first to make sure that the investment that we make makes sense for our district. Because all districts are different. We also want to ensure that we increase our professional development opportunities, because a lot of our staff, and I know some of you on the dais know this, a lot of our staff become teachers here in our district. And that's the best thing about it, because they start working with our students after school. They find that they like working with students, and some of them never thought about being a teacher, and they're like, I really like it. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to keep our students engaged and grow our own staff here. Of course, we align with educational services. Last year, for example, we had the math tutoring program. So we ensured that all students, even the ones that were not in the program, were able to take advantage of the program and the collaboration that we had. And again, we're going to continue to provide support for summer school and non-school days, intersessions, and whatnot. So here are a few folks that we partner with that come into our program, provide materials, whatnot. And here's some of our community partners that we work with here. I really couldn't list all of them, but these are some that we work very, very closely with. So I wanted to make sure that I included them. This is the amazing team that does all this work. I have Jenna Nunez, who's our administrative specialist, Monica Garza Murillo, who's our accounting assistant, Jordan Silva, who's our data entry clerk, and of course there's myself, and Lydia Rodriguez, who I know you all know, who does part-time support when she's done with her duties as a TOSA, or currently the role that she's serving in. And I can't thank them enough for the work that they do, because that's a very large program, and there's a lot of work that comes out of that office, and somehow they manage to do it. So with that, we do want to thank all of you for your continued support, because obviously we can't do it without the support of the board and the district as a whole. Because as you can see, we interact with all the departments here. And just provided a few pictures for you of some of the activities that we had in the summer. And I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. One announcement too, that even though she's not on the list, it's on the agenda tonight. You will finally have a coordinator after all these years. She'll be on the list for approval on the consent calendar, so that will be helpful as well. We'll go ahead and start. Anybody has questions? Where do you want to start? Redondo?
Thank you for your presentation. I was just wondering, are we doing any social emotional? I see Latino Commission on there. Do we provide therapists support after school, or any types of groups, or how do we partner with them?
So if we have a student that is in distress after school, yes, we just simply, oftentimes the therapist is still on grounds. So if they're automatically available. We have had instances where we may have a crisis, and the same process is followed as during the day.
And do we continue SEL lessons? Are they part of the after-school program?
Well, if you look at our CQI standards, it's integrated. So they're not a standalone separate program, but they're integrated into our activities. Because the after-school space is not as constricted as the regular day, students really do have more freedom, flexibility, and they find success in other ways.
One final question. In terms of employees, do we, in terms of if they're certificated or classified, do we offer our classified and certificated, just do we offer them the opportunities to gain employment, or is there some kind of list you go by, or is it go based on need at the site? How do we determine, which?
The application is open to anyone. The actual grant requirement for both ACES, 21st Century Assets, and ELOP is a high school diploma. That's the minimum requirement. So anyone can apply for any of the positions at any time, but we do have to take a look at when can those folks start their day, because that does impact us, because we start immediately after the school day ends. So if, like I mentioned earlier, if we have someone that can't start working till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then that's not a good fit for the program, because then we're no longer tailoring the program to students. Then we're creating conditions for that, are not for the student to be successful.
Thank you. That was my question.
And President Acuna,
sorry.
just to let you know, Karina is here with us tonight, so we'll wait until you get to that part of the agenda.
Hey, there's, oh, she's over there hiding in the corner. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll embarrass you later.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you for that informative presentation. All right. Let me get back to where we were at. Okay, moving on. Action item 7, educational services, item 7.1. Superintendent Esparza requesting approval of memorandum of understanding between College of the Desert and the Coachella Valley Unified School District expanded learning program for college credit for work experience with CVUSD expanded learning programs. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Danny's gone.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, our second left. Any questions on this? I think it was explained in the presentation for the most part. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 8, business services. Director Murta, said that right? Okay, just checking. I haven't said your name very often lately, so we're going to get to that one. Adoption of Board Resolution 25-04, request to piggyback on Palm Springs Farm to School bid number NS-25-02.
I'll motion, but I do have a comment.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Go ahead.
Ms. Murta, I think, I believe that the contract with Palm Springs is specific to one agricultural guy that works out here in this community. And I challenge what we do to create other channels of product from other companies that do the same seasonally, right? I get what Palm Springs doing. I'm sure they have some type of a fair bid for products sold, but I think there's an opportunity for you to expand that program and look at other cultivars that are actually feeding the world basically here in our community, right? Large part of agriculture, starting with corn, ending with peppers, comes from this area I've been back east where I see a box from Coachella, from Thermal, from Mecca. So we have a lot of people creating food, and it's exciting to see a farm to table strategy or program. I just challenge that we not just get complacent with what Palm Springs is doing and the specific gentleman that we're buying from, but look at developing other opportunities with other farmers. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 9, action, Human Resources 9.1, Director McLeod, approval of teacher of assignment release agreement for Dr. Joseph Bofa, fiscal year 24-25.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I abstain.
Huh?
I abstain.
Oh, you abstained? Okay, so that's 4-0-1. I apologize. Item 9.2, again, Director McLeod, approval of revised job description for Director of Community Schools.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any questions on this? I know we had some questions last time. I hope everybody's questions and concerns were fixed. We're good? All right.
Yeah, I
all
just
those-
have a comment. We always put a relevant experience, and I think when we were talking about education, we wanted to be part of the job description. So I know that we've been beating this up, and it's time for us to move forward. But I believe that most of us on this board believe education is important, and when we say it's part of the job description, I think we want it to stay and continue to be part of the job description. So those are my comments. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.3, Director McLeod, approval of employment contract regarding Dr. Monica, how do you say this? Makowicz? Okay, Makowicz, for Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 9.4, Director McLeod, CVUSD 2024-2025 School Calendar Revision, Parent Conferences.
So move.
Any questions on this?
Yeah, I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
And my mom's watching and she'd be mad at me if I didn't support.
Yeah, it's just it's a change to change the parent conference date to one of our cultural dates that a lot of parents celebrate, and so we're just moving that. Everybody, I think, was okay with it, agreed? So that's basically what it is, just one small change to one small date. We're changing the whole calendar or nothing, it's just one little thing. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.5, Director McLeod, approval of revised job description for Coordinator of Secondary Academic Counseling.
So
Do I hear a
moved.
motion? Second. Motion and a second. Any questions on this? Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, making good time here, guys. Item 10, consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers the motion, unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be considered and/or removed from the consent calendar, in which event the items will be considered separately. The superintendent, assistant superintendent of Ed Services, assistant superintendent of Business and Finance, and assistant superintendent of Human Resources recommend the approval of all consent calendar items. Do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve the consent calendar respecting any board member wanting to pull a specific item.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anybody want to pull something? No?
12.4.
I'm sorry?
12.4.
12.5? Okay. Okay, anything else?
No.
No? All right, we're all good. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We have item 12.5. I mean, sorry, 12.4. The request approval for the projected fiscal year 2024 expanded learning program purchases and sites. Comments?
I want to vote.
Huh?
I wanted to vote on it alone versus.
Oh, you wanted to vote on it by itself? Okay. Anybody have any questions on it?
Is that because of the amount, right? Right.
I think it's not effective to have the conversation for me here anymore, but I just wanted to vote my
That's fine.
conscious.
Okay.
All right, no problem. We have a motion and a second? Or
Aye.
we had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
It was
Aye.
I was I. Yeah.
You're an aye, right? Okay. Motion carries 4-1. All right. Nothing further. Going back. Nothing in closed session. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a weak aye, man. I don't know. You guys want to stay for a while or what?
Yeah, we're used to being here. till
Motion
12.
carries 5-0. We are done at 8:26. Thank you all. Have a great evening.